Hello again to the Insomniac's Graveyard Podcast. I'm your host, Derek Thinks, and I'm going to start off this episode by reading an excerpt from Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. 38. Frequently consider the connection of all things in the universe and their relation to one another. For in a manner, all things are implicated with one another, and all in this way are friendly to one another. For one thing comes in order after another, and this is by virtue of the active movement and mutual conspiration and the unity of the substance. 39. Adapt yourself to the things with which your lot has been cast, and the men among whom you have received your portion. Love them, but do it truly, sincerely. 40. Every instrument, tool, vessel, if it does that for which it has been made, is good, and yet he who made it is not there. But in the things that are held together by nature, there abides in them the power that made them. Wherefore the more is it fit to revere this power, and to think that if you live and act according to its will, everything in you is in conformity to intelligence, and thus also in the universe the things that belong to it are in conformity to intelligence. 41. If you suppose that the things that are not within your power are good or bad for you, then if you suffer a bad thing or the loss of a good thing, you will blame the gods and hate men too. Those who are the cause of the misfortune or the loss, or those who are suspected of being the likely cause, and indeed we do a great injustice when we dwell on such matters. But if we judge only those things that are in our power to be good or bad, there remains no reason either for finding fault with God or standing in a hostile attitude to man. 42. We are all working together to one end, some with knowledge and design, and others without knowing what they do, like sleeping men who are, according to Heraclitus, laborers and cooperators in the things that take place in the universe. But men cooperate in different ways, and even those cooperate abundantly who find fault with what happens and try to oppose and hinder it. For the universe had need even of such men as these. It remains then for you to understand among what kind of workmen you place yourself, for he who rules all things will certainly make right use of you, and he will receive you among some part of the cooperators and of those who labors conduce to one end. But do not play in the kind of mean and ridiculous part that Chrysippus speaks of in his play. 43. Does the sun undertake to do the work of the rain, or Asclepius the work of the fruit bearer, the earth? Isn't each star different yet working with the others toward the same end? 44. If the gods have deliberated about me and about the things that must happen to me, they have determined well, for it is not easy to imagine a deity deprived of forethought. And as to doing me harm, why should they have any desire towards that? For what advantage would result to them from this or to the whole, which the special object of their providence? But if they have not determined about me individually, they have certainly determined about the whole at least, and I ought to accept with pleasure and be content with the things that happen by way of sequence in this general arrangement. But if the gods deliberate about nothing, which it is wicked to believe, or if we do believe it, let us neither sacrifice nor pray nor swear by them, nor do anything else that we do as if the gods were present and lived with us. But if, however, the gods deliberate about none of the things that concern us, I am able to deliberate about myself, and I can inquire about what is useful. And what is useful to every man is that which is conformable to his own constitution and nature. But my nature is rational and social, and my city and country, so far as I am Antonius, is Rome. But so far as I am man, it is the world. The things then that are useful to these cities are alone useful to me. 45. Whatever happens to every man accrues to the interest of the universal. This might be sufficient, but further you will observe this general truth, that whatever is profitable to any man is profitable to also other men. But let the word profitable be taken here in the common sense as said of things of the middle kind, neither good nor bad. You might observe the amphitheater and such places that the continual sight of the same things and the uniformity make the spectacle wearisome. So it is in the whole of life. For things above, below, are the same and from the same. How long then? Think continually that all kinds of men, pursuits, and nations are dead, so that your thoughts come down even to Philistian and Phoebus and Origanian. Now turn your thoughts to other kinds of men. To that place then we must remove, where there are so many great orators, and so many noble philosophers, Heraclitus, Pythagoras, Socrates, and so many heroes of former days, and so many generals after them, and tyrants besides these, uh, Eudoxus, Hipparchus, Archimedes, and other men of acute natural talents, great minds, lovers of labor, versatile, confident mockers even of the perishable and ephemeral life of man, as Menippus and such as are like him. Consider that all these have long been in the dust. Which harm then is this to them, and what to those whose names are altogether unknown? One thing here is worth a great deal: to pass your life in truth and justice, with a benevolent disposition even to liars and unjust men. 48. When you wish to delight yourself, think of the virtues of those who live with you. For instance, the activity of one, the modesty of another, the liberality of a third, and some other good quality of a fourth. For nothing delights so much as the examples of the virtues when they are exhibited in the morals of those who live with us and present themselves in abundance as far as possible. Hence we must keep them before us. 49. You are not dissatisfied, I suppose, because you weigh only so many pounds and not 300. Do not be dissatisfied then that you must live only so many years and not more, for as you are satisfied with the amount of substance that has been assigned to you, so be content with the time. 50. Let us try to persuade men, but act even as their will when the principles of justice lead that way. If, however, any man may be using force stands in your way, have recourse to contentment and tranquility, employing this hindrance as a spur to the exercise of some other virtue, and remember that thy attempt was limited, that you did not desire to do impossibilities. What then did you desire? Some such effort as this, but you attain your object if the things to which you were moved are accomplished. 51. He who loves fame considers another man's activity to be his own good, and he who loves pleasure his own sensations. But he who has understanding considers his own acts to be his own good. 52. It is in our power to have no opinion about a thing and not to be disturbed in our soul, for things themselves have no natural power to form our judgments. 53. Accustom yourself to attend carefully to what is said by another, and as much as it is possible, try to inhabit the speaker's mind. 54. That which is not good for the swarm is not good for the bee either. 55. If sailors abused the helmsman or sick the doctor, would they listen to anybody else? How could the helmsman secure the safety of those in the ship, of the doctor the health of those whom he tends? 56. How many together with whom I came into the world are already gone out of it? 57. To the jaundiced honey tastes bitter, and to those bitten by mad dogs water causes fear. And to little children the ball is a fine thing. Why then am I angry? Do you think that a false option has less power than the bile in the jaundice or the poison in someone bitten by a mad dog? 58. No man will hinder you from living according to the reason of your own nature. Nothing will happen to you contrary to the reason of the universal nature. 59. What kind of people are those whom men wish to please, and for what objects, and by what kind of acts? How soon will time cover all things, and how many has it covered already? So that was an excerpt, a rather lengthy excerpt of the Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. Decided to bust out, I guess, the classics today or tonight or whatever time of day it is you're listening. And I've always enjoyed the classics, although the translation is a bit rough when it comes to reading out loud or reading in general. When it comes to some of these, especially in the passage or the excerpt that I just read, there's a lot. The translation led to a lot of uh, use of semicolons and uh, ongoing thought, like a stream of consciousness kind of thought, which I guess is kind of difficult. Especially you add the the difficult pronunciation of some of the names, as well as the just the overall language that is used. It's a difficult read, but Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, I highly recommend it. So, how's it going? There's another episode, I believe episode 6 of the Insomniac's Graveyard Podcast, hosted by me, Derek Thinks. You can call me Derek. Drinking a little uh, diet cherry soda. I hope the weather is nicer. Well, I mean, I guess this time of season the weather is not very nice in many places, as opposed except for maybe like the somewhere tropical or whatever, or somewhere in uh, the southern hemisphere, I guess. But I hope the weather is nicer than it's been where I'm at. We've had a variety of heavy rains and windstorms, and it's just pretty gross and kind of harrowing out there if you enjoy going on walks or urban hikes, um, like I do. But I hope everything is well. It's uh, it's, I guess currently it's kind of a weird time, right? I wanna I wanna talk about, and I don't know if I'm gonna devote all my episode time to this, but I want to talk about just the holidays, and specifically just moods and feelings that people may have during the holidays. Uh, of course, things like Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Christmas, New Year's, or Thanksgiving. If you want to go a little further back, I discussed Thanksgiving in a previous episode. But all of those things are supposed to be joyous. They're supposed to bring people together, families together, and and bring out feelings of just joy and wonder and just togetherness, peace and togetherness. Um, However, um, my understanding, a lot of people, much like myself actually, during the holiday times, go through a bout of the holiday blues. I'm currently going through it right now. You know, for what reason? I don't know. Just I guess just a matter of reflection. Maybe that it could a lot maybe a lot to do coincide with the weather or just the season. Of course, people people tend to be a little bit more depressed in the uh, when it comes to the colder, darker months. Um, but what if you're going through the holiday blues? What possibly can cause such a thing, right? Well, my understanding is that um, the holiday blues may deal or have a lot to do with the expectation of joy, right? You have an expectation during the holidays to be happy, to look forward to getting together with your loved ones, and if you celebrate Christmas, to open presents, or maybe you go to church or something, or whatever, or have a lovely dinner, large dinner with a bunch of your loved ones, and maybe that expectation of joy um, may maybe cause a bit of an internal conflict. Maybe maybe you're already sad, or have sadness, or already anxious, and that build up to what's supposed to be such a joyous occasion, such as the holidays, may allow, or uh, cause that depression or sadness or anxiety to increase tenfold. Thus leading to maybe more uh, enhanced feelings or enhanced bad feelings during, or just leading up to the holidays. Um, maybe that has a lot to do with myself. Just the expectation of joy, the expectation of happiness. Um, you know, because it's when you already feel a certain way on the negative side. you know, um, Something just as inherently stressful as the holiday season may may just exacerbate those negative feelings. Um, for example, if you on a regular basis already feel lonely, perhaps perhaps around the holidays, when maybe you'll feel more lonely. Maybe again, the matter of expectation. The expectation is that you're supposed to spend time with your loved ones, and maybe you're not very close to many people anymore. Of course, that's kind of what happens. My understanding, what happens, the older you get, the less and less people are in your close circle, and that includes family as well, immediate and extended family as well. So maybe that expectation of togetherness is comes up short, thus leading to feelings of of negativity and sadness around the holidays. Um, or perhaps even uh, just general stresses that happen during the holidays. Maybe uh, the pressure to meet some sort of deadlines, or the pressure to 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 perform well, whatever your profession is, before the end of the year, or the beginning of a so-called holiday vacation. Maybe there's a lot of things that need to be done in a short period of time, and it'll add to your stress if you don't complete it, and you have to deal with it once you return from vacation, including on top of all the new things you have to deal with once you return to your profession, right? There's always a factor of that. This is just the pressure, the stress and pressure. um, uh, and of course, when it comes to the holidays, um, when it comes to the holidays there's also such a thing as financial pressure. There's you want that you're trying to get gifts and toys for your kids, or for your significant other, or for other family members, and the extra expenses on top of the monthly expenses, such as rent and bills and car payments, and whatever. Just maybe the pressure of having to um, uh, spend extra money on gifts during the holidays. um, you know it may add um, add that the financial stress may add to your negative feelings, or your sadness or anxiety, or as I named it, or as it's often called, the holiday blues. um you know I mean, the truth is, I mean, I don't know. Is there any way to get over it? Is there any way to put those negative feelings aside and just enjoy the holidays? Maybe until the very moment where say you get to spend time with loved ones. It kind of picks at your brain, and kind of just lingers, and then like a dark cloud on top of you, until the very moment where say you're going to a relative's house, or someone else's home for a holiday party, or some sort of function for a holiday party or get together. And maybe once that door is open and you're greeted, and maybe once the 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 spiked eggnog flows, maybe the so will rid the anxieties, uh, as well as the inhibitions. I mean, I don't know. I mentioned the whole expectation thing. Is there really a way to overcome the expectation? And maybe you're setting yourself up for failure once you have these expectations in your mind, and then once they maybe the holidays don't fulfill your expectations. It just adds to the issues later on down the road. You know, maybe you know maybe there's a bit of a crisis when it comes to just time. I was speaking to a good friend of mine earlier about how time just seems to fly by so quickly. If say you're a little kid, a span of a year lasts a lifetime. Say you're like 10 years old, just a child, and an entire year, that's 10% of your life, as opposed to say when you're 30 years old. A year is a lot shorter period of your life, or feels that way. That's why time feels seems to go by so quickly. Also the matter with what makes a time seem to just go by so quickly is just routine. It's strange. It's, I don't know, maybe paradox is the correct word. But when you um when you have a daily routine, up until you wake up in the morning, and from when you wake up in the morning to when you go to bed at night. If you do that, say, 5 days a week, the same exact thing every single time, it just drones on and on and on, and feels like forever. But at the same time, it's like the days go by. They just go by, because you're separating your days with, you're portioning your days out with, like, time you spend doing XYZ. And then say again, Monday XYZ, Tuesday XYZ, Wednesday XYZ, etc. and etc. Before you know it, it's been a number of months. It also relates to, say, like a time for recreation. Say you look forward to the weekend every weekend. There are 52 weeks out of the year, and which means that there are 52 Saturdays and Sundays in a year. And when you really examine it, or maybe not examine it, maybe when you just experience it, you realize that 52 weeks is not that long of a time. um, uh, there I've seen like on many posts on say like Instagram, or other social media where it's like, oh, 12 weeks till Christmas, 9 weeks till Christmas, you know, 3 weeks until Christmas, right? And and the more and more I see those, it makes me realize like, yeah, the weeks seem to fly by, even though they also at the same time seem to just go on and on and on and last forever. Then it's just very, very strange to me. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just getting on the concept of time. I mean, and that whole thing kind of maybe adds to the holiday blues. I mean, I know of people that always look forward to Christmas every year, and maybe New Year's every year, but they look forward to the holidays or Christmas every year, and uh, and at the same time, it's like, with time going by so quickly, it's like, uh, you know, it seems like just a couple months ago that, oh, we just took down the tree, we got to put it back up. Oh, we just took down the lights, we got to string them back up. And and that may raise a crisis in some people, just feelings of anxiety, or maybe just dread about how fast time is going by, for some people. um, I don't know, again, I mean, this is not necessarily what I'm going through when I'm, referring to my personal holiday blues, but maybe that's something that all of you, or some of you who are listening, may be thinking about, or something that crosses your mind, or maybe, that's maybe a not so welcome, or I guess, yeah, not so welcome thought, an intrusive thought. Just, oh my gosh, time is just flying by. This is kind of ridiculous. Oh, before you know it, it's your birthday again. Like, oh, wasn't it just my birthday, or wasn't it just Christmas, or wasn't it just this or that? I don't know. Maybe maybe it I guess also too, it's kind of strange too, that the older you get, of course, too, and with the just the abundance of social media, just the rise, and just the the ubiquity of social media, you know you're kind of reminded of your own existence, and in the fact that you know say celebrities, people who are famous, when when you're a child, people who are at the height, or maybe middle aged, or at the height of their popularity, when you're a child, you find out, okay, well, okay, they passed away, they died, so, certain celebrities, or even athletes, a couple times this year, I can't think of any specific examples right now, but if they come to me, I'll mention it. But say like an athlete who was you know very popular at the top of the at maybe near the end, or still in their prime of their career, when you're a child, and then now being older, it's like, oh well, they had passed away. It's like, whoa, it makes you, it just kind of reminds you that, man, like, I've this person was was the guy, at the peak of his excellence, 25 years ago, or 20 years ago, or whatever, and then now they're gone. It's like, oh, then it kind of reminds yourself, like, oh well, shoot, I was a child, just merely a child, 25, 20 years ago. Now I'm not. It's like, wow, and that, I guess that kind of relates to the whole time thing, time uh, passing by so quickly. I don't know. It's just, I mean, you're supposed to look forward to like experiencing stuff, and just being older and wiser, right? And the older you get, the more wisdom you get. But at the same time, the older you get, the more you're reminded that you're getting old, and that's not exactly an easy or welcome thought to many people. Especially when it comes to even a person in their 30s, which by say athletic standards is already um, old, but when it comes to professional athletes, 30s is already old. Of course, in real life, 30s is still so very young. Not necessarily middle age, but not necessarily young adult, just an adult and still considered young. But it's a little rough, and it kind of reminds you of just time passing by, and getting older with when say you're in your 30s, and your joints hurt, or when you wake up in the morning, or say maybe you have a little too many beers, and you don't spring back to life the next day like you would when you're younger, or say you playing a game of pickup basketball, or going for a nice easy little jog. Maybe the next day you could hardly move anything below your waist. I mean, I don't know. You're supposed to look forward to it. You're supposed to be um, uh, happy, and enjoy the fact that the older you get, the more wisdom and experience and understanding of the world around you get. Of course, when you're a lot younger, you hardly have any understanding of the world around you, and you kind of live in your little adolescent vacuum, or even a young adult vacuum, where you know maybe your thoughts aren't as well thought of. Your concepts of existence aren't well thought of. It just, I guess, it was also relates to, I guess, the impulsivity of uh of the younger people, as opposed to when you're older, where you're thinking, maybe I'm not gonna make that risky decision. I don't I don't know. Of course, I'm just rambling, right? This is what this podcast is about. It's me rambling about whatever, right? Oh well, okay. Well, I think that's good and proper. I don't know. I mean, uh, let's see. What did I talk about? Okay, so if say you just want to talk to somebody, or type to somebody about your experiences with the holiday blues. um you could always hit me up on my social media. I always welcome any sort of feedback or comments or questions or anything like that. Maybe just maybe you're you're younger or older, and maybe you have an idea of what uh time is, the idea of time going by quickly or slowly, or whatever. Maybe you have an idea about that. Maybe I briefly talked about dead celebrities, and how they may lead to a little bit of a crisis when it comes to your own existence. Someone that you remember when you were just a child, and maybe now is has passed on, and it seems like just yesterday that you were a child, and they were a very famous person, actor, or any celebrity of some sort. um uh yeah, if you wanna just contact me on social media. You can uh find me on Twitter and Instagram. That's Derek Thinks, DerickThinks. If you're listening on SoundCloud, you can just click and leave a comment, or on YouTube, you can click and leave a comment, and no problem at all. That's Derek Thinks, DerickThinks. Oops, excuse me. And I'm going to conclude this episode. Was it episode 6? Whatever. With a poem by Sandra Cisneros, and it is titled My Wicked, Wicked Ways. This is my father. See? He is young. He looks like Errol Flynn. He is wearing a hat that tips over one eye, a suit that fits him good, and baggy pants. He is also wearing those awful shoes, the two-toned ones my mother hates. Here is my mother. She is not crying. She cannot look into the lens because the sun is bright. The woman, the one my father knows, is not here. She does not come till later. My mother will get very mad. Her face will turn red and she will throw one shoe. My father will say nothing. After a while, everyone will forget it. Years and years will pass. My mother will stop mentioning it. This is me she is carrying. I am a baby. She does not know I will turn out bad.